Hey, welcome back to my next World of Warcraft video. Today we are looking at my interface during combat. So I will take a clip from a fight that I actually played today, in a Seat 21 key. And I will explain what happens in my interface, why things are shown and some are not shown, what happens with the audio, and how I actually process the fight in my brain. Before I start, I want to show you the full clip, including sound. I picked a part where none of my teammates are speaking so that you can listen to my interface only and how I perceive the fight from my perspective. There's a little bit of background music. I hope I don't get copyright striked because of that, but it should be fine. I will only show the clip with sound once so that you can get a feeling for what I see and hear uninterrupted without commentary, and then we go through the clip again and I will explain a few things that you can see and why they are there and what they are doing. Alright, let's start.
Chains of subjugation. Void bash. Leeching void.
Alright, so this was the clip. As you can see and hear, there are multiple reminders for trash mob abilities, but there's a lot of other stuff going on in my interface in this fight. Alright, so let's quickly go through the beginning of the clip, and I actually take a freeze frame here and explain what you can actually see in my screen, and then we will go through the clip again. I will let it play, and if something interesting happens, I will pause and explain it. So first of all, obviously what you see is dungeon gameplay. This is an M+ dungeon, a 21 seat. On the right side, you see obviously the seat, how far we have progressed, that we are actually behind in time. Don't worry, we actually catch up later, but we don't time the key because mistakes were made on the last boss. But yeah, in general, this is very helpful to like see how far you're in the dungeon, and this add-on gives you like a split on your last key. So we are 31 seconds slower than my previous attempt at C21. So yeah, this is like a very helpful add-on. Then below that we have the typical detailed damage meter and the damage overall of the dungeon. To the left below we have the action bars, and then right of that we have a weak aura, or used to be a weak aura. It shows you your stats with the values. So this is usually not super helpful during combat, but I got used to using it when playing Resto Druid to actually track the proc of my trinkets whenever I got a haste buff, which then would mean I could like blast more HPS in a specific situation in a fight and might skip a CD or stuff like that. So yeah, I got used to like using this weak aura, or what used to be a weak aura, for tracking my stats during combat, especially with proc trinkets. I'm playing a proc trinket as well on my evoker, so I tend to sometimes look here or make decisions on if I pick up a buff in Academy, for example. I think about what I want to use depending on how my values are looking. Obviously, I'm in Biscuit right now, so I'm basically always pick the same. But yeah, this is kind of a consideration depending on the character you are currently on. You can use that. Alright, now to the center of the screen, or actually I want to start at the top. So we can see completely at the top over here that there are void rifts closed 3 out of 4. So this is like a mechanic of the dungeon. You need to like defeat huge like void walkers, and once you defeat 4 of them, the second boss will actually spawn. So this is part of the dungeon. Then we have below that actually the fight, the pack, with the nameplates. Nameplates are colored in different colors. So this purple color below this one is actually the normal nameplate color, and then we have this like bluish color, which is lieutenants and special like caster mobs. So I can like differentiate which mobs I need to target, and so which are the important mobs and stuff like that. To the right of that, obviously we have standard buff tracking from Blizzard, and then over here, this is actually a weak aura. So this is used to be one of my favorite weak auras ever, and it's still working. It's a combat time weak aura. You can do that with other ways. So there are like add-ons or parts of add-ons that actually show your combat time, but I prefer this kind of weak aura. And I used to like stylize the font more to my liking. Currently, it's just plain white and standard font. But yeah, this is quite nice. Then on the rest of the screen, obviously you have the fight going on. So this is our Demon Hunter. I have Plater, I think, a Plater profile where these names are like stylized in this way for friendly nameplates. And then obviously here in the middle, this is my character, and next to me, I think, is standing my image, or maybe this is actually the wings spreading from an animation. I'm not too sure. And then below that, we have my cooldown manager. This is actually from Luxtus, a bit changed for my liking, but in general it's from Luxtus. And I'm using the Quartz cast bar. This is standard buff tracking from Blizzard, and then the cooldown manager with Essence and the Ebonmite runtime. And below that, in the like utility bar, we only have the hover to track my hover. This will be important at a later point. Um, that I have a different way of tracking hover as well, and I will show you that in a second. But for now, you just need to know this is where I can see my charges and stuff like that. To the left of that, we have obviously my party frame, and to the right of that, my target frame with my target of target, which is obviously our tank. And then to the left of that, this is my duplicate actually. This used to be below here, below my actually player frame. I'm not sure if I open the add-on, it is actually shown in this position, but in fight it is shown over here. So I need to figure out what happened there, might be a bug. The font changed as well. I used to have like a huge font to better track the remaining runtime of my duplicates, but somehow it changed. I'm not sure what happened there. And then we have my party frames. Above my party frames we have a weak hour that is tracking combat reses and how long until the next combat res becomes available. Below that, the party frames. This is standard Blizzard frame. I increased the size of buffs, and I think I increased the size of the, like this in the middle is the special defensive indicator that's showing when someone is using a defensive. And then these yellow bars you see is actually my prescience. So this is like an extra add-on that tracks prescience, and these start moving once we like start the clip. You can see that they are moving. So what else can I tell you? This is basically most of the interface. Obviously I track like debuffs on nameplates as well, so this might be important at some point. But I think we can play the clip and wait until something important happens. So we are just now finishing off that pack, and we pulled actually a Merciless Subjugator. And now that he casts an important cast, like Chains of Subjugation, you will see that the cast is actually shown over here. This is like a list of all the casts that are going on in the pack right now. And then I have a lady that is like reading out these casts. So currently there would be the voice line Chains of Subjugation. So I know that is actually cast. And this is like very important, because this audio cue tells me that I need to click on my DK right now, which I'm doing right here. So now the DK is on my target, and I will use my rescue on him like this. And now both of us have chains removed. So as you can see, these three people have chains, and we are both safe and don't have chains. So yeah, the channel is still shown over here, so that Chains of Subjugation is actually cast. And then we have the Void Bash, Leeching Void. This is all casts that are explained to me by the lady that is like reading out all of my casts. And then in the middle of the screen you actually see Chain Target, which is actually like X-Boss that shows us that Chains of Subjugation is about to occur in about 3 seconds. So we can now hit play, and we will see in about 3 seconds the guy will cast another Chains of Subjugation. Actually, it is showing that the cast is ready. He might not cast it right away, but it is ready and he will cast it soon. So basically, well, soonish. Now he's casting Chains of Subjugation. So this is like a way to like track this with Xboss to make sure when the next cast is coming in. And this is actually quite important to do that. So if you watch the clip carefully, you can see not only do I click on my DK to save him from chains, which I do right now. I move out of the chain from our monk healer as well, and then I will breath over the pack and stun it. And I do this to extend my duplicates, obviously. This is like part of the evoker rotation to make sure that that I do the most damage. I need the multiple duplicates up, spreading my bombardments. And this is like one of the things that I actually track in my cooldown manager. If you look right here, so currently there's one bombardment out here, and my current target, the Ravenous Umbrafin, does not have bombardment yet. So I cast an eruption now, and you can see now that I casted it on the target, and actually I swapped back to the Merciless Subjugator. I can see that there's no bombardment on the target and how long it runs. Usually I try to like target the mob with the lowest remaining duration of like the bombardment to make sure that I at least try to extend this one, and then if the target dies or this drops, I will actually check the nameplate for the second bombardment. But yeah, this is like kind of tracked twice. Like once in the UI where I actually look, my eyes are usually around this area or my character, and then if I need to like check for different bombardments, I can look at the nameplates. Furthermore, you actually see that my buff tracking is over here. So obviously Prescience is this yellow bar, but then again I have Ebonite as well. And while my Ebonite is currently running at 85%, this is not by the seconds, it is 11 seconds, but there's like a kind of maximum duration you can have with in the pandemic window of Ebonite, and this would be 100%, and then currently we are at 85%. 11 seconds remaining. So if I like play and you see me like cast eruptions, it like improves the bar to keep up my Ebonite for a longer duration. So yeah, in this fight in general, oh wait, we have one more thing that we can see that I need to explain right now. You can see like this like faint blue circle around my character right now. This is actually the chain cast. I wonder if we can see that earlier. I don't think so, because the target was not in combat when X-Boss like were analyzing the next cast. Maybe we can see it still. Let's see. No, as you can see, there's no blue circle, and this is part of the problems with Midnight and add-ons. So X-Boss is actually showing me a blue circle when Chains of Subjugation is cast, as you can see like a little bit later in the video, like over here. You can see this this blue circle. This is actually the Chains of Subjugation cast. And when the target is not in combat, when X-Boss is like determining when the next cast is going off and stuff like that, this is not working. And yeah, this is part of the annoyances in Midnight with add-ons. But still, this is better than nothing. At least it shows me most of the time when chains are going out, and gives me the circle around my character so that I can like adjust to the situation better and then have a clear visual that it's happening. So this is actually quite nice. So yeah, most of my problems are solved by X-Boss actually. So there's a lot of voice lines going off like AoE and stuff like that, and interrupt ads, and all of the stuff is basically X-Boss. Then we have this like M+ dungeon cast list, which is like, I think the add-on is called Targeted Spells, which like write out all of the spells that are in the pack, and then a woman is like reading out the text to me so that I can like hear what is going off currently. And then I have a few weak auras, so this is like part of the dungeon pack that I use for weak auras. This might actually be a weak aura, so I'm not too sure. This might be X-Boss or it might be a weak aura. I use both circles at the same position, so this could be both. But in general, yeah, these add-ons help me like understand what is happening on my screen. Obviously, you could argue I can just look at the mob and see it cast Chains of Subjugation. But when more stuff is going on in a fight, and you pull like, you make like huge pulls with multiple casters and stuff like that, and it is very important that you get your cast, you obviously take that in focus. And when I have a focus target and the cast is a interruptible cast for me, the woman will say kick, so that I know I need to use my interrupt. So yeah, this is like small little helpers to improve my performance, especially in more chaotic situations. And then for the rest of the screen, this is mainly to make my class playable, and obviously my group frame, for example, or my DPS meters and stuff like that, is there to understand what is happening with my group. What are my teammates doing? Are they blasting? Are they using CDs? Do they have their buffs that they need? Are they dead? Can I revive them? I have like a battle res item over here. Yeah, many of the things you need to track about your teammates can actually be done with the party frame, and in addition to that, I usually try to use something like details to make sure that that everything is covered. Alright, that's one more thing I want to show you, and that is actually when I have a debuff. Let me jump to the boss. There should be a situation where I get the debuff. Yeah, right now I have it. Alright, so this is the boss fight, and you can see that my interface gets quite chaotic for a few reasons. First of all, I have multiple boss modes covering these abilities. Yes, there is a possibility to refine them and like set specific rules on which boss fight I want to show which ability with which add-on and stuff like that. But add-ons break so frequently that it is actually important for me to have multiple things covered by different add-ons. I have weak hours covering the same thing that Bigwigs does cover and Xbox does cover. In case one of them breaks, I always have like kind of a backup that I can rely on, and that helps me through the fight. So yeah, in this situation we have the bars over here. This is like obviously Bigwigs showing me the boss abilities. So this is small. Blue bar is like a faraway ability, and then the red bar above the target frame is actually what is happening very soon. So the kick is happening in 5 seconds. Then you have like the indicator, the alarming messages from Bigwigs going off, telling me that explosion is coming and the bleed is going out. So this is actually the bleed that is going out on me right now. And this one is a weak arrow as well, so it tells me big AoE damage. So you can see that multiple things now cover what's happening in the future. I have the cast bar going off at the target and obviously at the target frame as well in the targeted spells. And actually this is an ability that is not read by the female voice because I disabled it for bosses, but I could activate it. So I have like multiple things that indicate to me that an explosion is coming, that I need to use a defensive, or in this case, I think I dispel the bleeding myself with Cauterize. Or maybe I don't, I just get cocooned. Okay, in this case I got cocooned. But I could have dispelled the bleeding myself with Cauterize. Let's go a bit back to the situation. So this is the situation that's happening. And then this add-on is actually Xbox as well. It shows us who gets the next bleeding. So in this case, I got it, and it should now swap. No, it's not. Okay, so it seems like the add-on is broken or something, but it obviously should. Who has the current bleeding, which is me, and then who is next up. So I would disappear from that list, and then obviously these 3 can be the next ones, and then whoever gets it next, then there are only 2 left, and then once only 2 are left, a 3rd one is added. So yeah, then I would be back in the list as well. So you cannot get the bleeding back to back, basically. So there's one more thing going off, and we actually see it right now. So Shadewing is one of the bosses that needs to be kicked with the cast Red Screech, which if it goes off in 21 is an instant wipe. This kick is handled by our Demon Hunter, I think, because he gets like damage reduction from the kick. So he will usually do that. But as you can see, it is selected as my focus target that you can see over here. Above my player frame is selected as my focus target. And I have an additional add-on, like an advanced focus cast bar, that is like shown on my character model when the cast is going off. And yeah, it will show that someone else is interrupting it, like right now, interrupted by the Demon Hunter, as predicted. And in this situation, yeah, I obviously don't need to track it, but it's just a backup mechanism. So if someone says, I don't have kick and stuff like that, I usually want to have the important target in focus already. So I just need to press my focus kick macro and then forget about it. So yeah, this is an additional add-on that helps me out. Alright, I think I covered most of what I'm actually using. The question is, what is actually missing from my interface right now? What is Midnight missing in terms of interface usability for the player base? So what I'm missing definitely is seeing the cooldowns of all of my teammates. So basically I want to track their defensives, I want to track their offensives, I want to track healing cooldowns, I want to track like buffs, like for example if you had a priest and I want to track if he has PI or not. If it's used, then I would track if it's on me and stuff like that. So there are a bunch of like things missing that would make my life significantly easier in terms of like making the decisions myself without asking other people. Obviously, I can ask, do you have your defensive? Are you going to use AMZ the next time we get the AoE and stuff like that? I can obviously ask all of these things in voice, since I'm playing in a pre-made group, but I shouldn't have to. It is like an annoyance to me that I have to do that. So this is definitely something that I'm missing very much. That gives me the ability to see things on my own without asking, without cluttering the voice input, because I can make a decision based on what I see. For example, in this situation, if I knew I would have, I get Cocoon, I might have played it a bit differently. So she actually told me that she will Cocoon me in this situation specifically, so that's why I didn't waste any other CDs and like didn't press heal pot and stuff like that. I trusted in the Cocoon. But there are many situations where this is not happening because there's more important things to say, and to not be able to track stuff like that, if a Cocoon, for example, is up or not, is like a very big annoyance to me. Alright, so I think I covered all of the important things that you can see and understand what I see on my screen, and how this helps me to actually play the game and understand what I need to do. I have a lot of reminders, a lot of warnings, and many of them, and I actually would have more if it was possible, of them are actually like audible reminders. So like the woman telling me big AoE or kick ad or use defensive or stuff like that, because I prefer to have all of that covered via audio so that I can actually focus on my character and my rotation with visuals, like seeing my buff tracking and stuff like that. So I prefer it this way. This is how I'm used to do it. And I got most of the utility back that I need to function as a gamer, since I'm very like focused on audio. But there's still like stuff missing. Obviously, it's not perfect, but it's still good enough. It's very good, and I hope I could like show to you how to do it, how to find your way in like high keys, and how you understand what is happening on your screen without actually seeing and clicking on the target, by just having add-ons that actually help you see it and tell you that. Obviously, this is like a very personal thing. Many of the things you need to like adjust to yourself, or maybe you don't like audio input, maybe you like different visuals. All of that needs to be customized to what you need. So this is obvious, or should be obvious, but it is a way to do it. And by me showing you how it is possible to do, you might get ideas on how to do it yourself. So there's one more important thing I actually forgot, and this is Xbox as well. So on a class like Evoker, which is like very reliant on hover charges for multiple reasons. First of all, on Evoker, basically you'd never want to move like for a mechanic without hover. You never want to interrupt your cast to move out of a void or stuff like that. So you always want to hover. It is important to know if you have hover or not. I can track this over here, obviously, but this is like more so tracking if I have hover active currently, and this is basically telling me that I have no other hover charge if this hover ends. And this is actually quite important for several mechanics where you like need to use hover as your defensive. So this hover gives you like a 10% damage reduction. So in many of the boss abilities, for example in Magister's Terrace, each time the first boss stomps, you need to hover or you're dead, and on 22. So this is like a mandatory, you actually do that. You need to preserve your hover charges for that, and if you don't have any, and this is why this like add-on, like X-Boss thingy over here is so important, you need to tell your healer that you like need a defensive, or you like need to press one of your own defenses and stuff like that. So yeah, this is actually quite important. But what I want to say and what I want to show with this video is actually how I set up my interface to make it work for me. And I hope this gives you some ideas on what you can do to like counteract your own shortcomings, or like customize your interface to your needs, and what is possible to do in World of Warcraft currently with the add-on purge from Midnight. There's still a lot of utility, a lot of things you can do with add-ons to improve your capabilities and fights, and to extend your knowledge of what is happening on the screen, more so than just the visuals on what's happening on the screen. So you are able to like process more information because it comes from different sources and not just the visual information. Alright, so I hope this video was helpful to you. If so, it would be nice if you like and subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye bye.